See, growing up, I never really enjoyed having vegetables. What I did have included potatoes, tomatoes, which is actually a fruit, onion maybe, peas, very limited list. But now that I make food for myself, I know what to do to make vegetables work for me. And I wish I had vegetables cooked like this, that I would not have had all those struggles growing up. And that's exactly what this bread recipe is for. It's to make cauliflower fun and enjoyable to eat. And there are different ways you can make this recipe work for you. You can have these gobi parathas or bread stuffed with a cauliflower filling at really any time. It's commonly had for breakfast, it can be had with lunch, it can be had with dinner, snack. It's just a great all-in-one kind of meal. I am using riced cauliflower. You get it frozen, which is very convenient. But in case you want to use the fresh cauliflower, then just use the head. And once you've cleaned it, washed it, then go ahead and pulse it until it's crumbly and small, kind of like this. Because these are frozen in my case, the riced cauliflower, I'm going to microwave that for a little bit because it is still kind of frosty, and really dry it out because water with a dough will not really work well together. We don't want excess moisture in there. Now in that cauliflower, I'm going to add in some salt, some freshly chopped cilantro, some garam masala, some red chili powder. I'll start mixing that in, and then based on your heat tolerance, you can add in some hot green chilies as well. And honestly, this mixture is just adding some flavor to the cauliflower because we're not cooking it. We're just mixing all this together, setting it aside, making the dough, because the cauliflower will cook within the bread as we cook the bread on the pan, and all those flavors from cooking it will be sealed in that bread. Talking about that, I'm gonna add some carom seeds or ajwain into some whole wheat flour. I'm using actually atta, which is a special blend of whole wheat flour, so it tastes a little bit different than actual whole wheat. You want to just add some water and then knead it into a soft, smooth dough. You want to then just let it rest for at least 15 to 25 minutes, and then it's time to portion it out. Now there are two very different, and depending on who you are, very easy ways to stuff these breads. The first one is my preferred way because it kind of ensures that the breads don't tear that often, because the second method is a bit more technical. And I'm going to show you both. See, for the first method, we're going to portion out two small dough balls, which will combine to make one big paratha. For the second method, you want one big dough ball. So for the first method, take those two small dough ball portions and then roll it out into a thin disc. Do the same with the second dough ball, which is going to be a pair that makes one paratha, and then just spread out a nice portion of the cauliflower mix from earlier, leaving a slight rim on the edge so that we can seal it with the other disc that we rolled out. Seal it well, and now we just pinch the sides a little bit and then use a rolling pin and just make sure it all comes together as one. So that's the first easy method. The second method is almost like making a dumpling. So you roll out that big dough ball slightly, put that in the palm of your hands and put a nice tablespoon and a half portion of the cauliflower mix in the middle, and then start pinching the edges as you seal the top. Lightly press on it, flatten it up a bit, and then put it back on your work surface. You can use some flour to dust your work surface, but you can clearly see I didn't have to. And now with a very light hand, start rolling it out. I think personally it's great if there are some holes or tears while rolling it out. To me, that conveys that I didn't cheap out on the stuffing, and I actually get very excited when there are some holes in my parathas because I know it's going to be amazing. Now here are the two different methods of making the same thing. You pick what works for you. I would suggest you try both because they're both good techniques that will be applicable for all kinds of different cuisines as well. So try it out and let me know what you preferred down below. Now it's time to actually cook it. So you have a pan. It could be a non-stick pan. It could be a cast iron pan. This here, it's a type of cast iron pan called the tawa pan. It's on medium heat right now, just slightly over it actually. And then once it's very, very lightly smoking, you add your rolled out gobi paratha on it. You want to now gently cook it. And once you start to see it puffing slightly, and you have a nice golden brown toasted texture on the underside, then flip it. Then brush or apply some ghee or even butter on that toasted side. And once the other side also is lightly toasted, lightly golden brown, then flip it and do the same on the other side. Now what that fat does as you use it to toast the bread is not only does it add some smokiness to it, but it helps to tenderize the paratha because it mixes with the dough, makes it softer, makes it fragrant. Ghee is part of any great homemade paratha and you'll find that anywhere you go. What's a bit over the top, which could be reserved for special occasions, is adding some butter as you serve the actual paratha, but yeah, you decide. Now you can use some tongs to flip the parathas or a thin spatula or even your hands if you're comfortable with that. But this is the basic idea of how to make stuffed parathas. And I have some other recipes of different types of stuffings that you can put in the bread to make these parathas, like potatoes, there's onions, paneer, there's even meat that you can put in there. I'll link it all down below. Maybe a playlist will help you finding some other varieties of stuffed parathas as well, because it's really endless. You can do anything with it and it's always delicious. I have a couple in the fridge right now, which I cannot wait to have. And let me know what else you have seen in a paratha or in a bread that's stuffed that I haven't mentioned, because I really cannot think of anything else that I've run into in my personal life that are besides these stuffing options. I'll see you all on the next one. Go ahead and have some fun with these parathas.